What is up? We are minutes away from the 49ers matchup against the Falcons. Stay tuned. I'll give you my thoughts right now. What is up, fam? Thank you so much for tuning in to So Real Sports Talk TV on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. We are less than an hour away from kickoff for the 49ers Week 6 battle against the Atlanta Falcons. And it's a beautiful day to be a 49er fan. The 49ers are in first place solely in the NFC West. Tiebreaker in hand against the Rams. They're going up in a game where they are favored against the Atlanta Falcons. And have a very, very good chance at the end of today to be 4-2 going into week 7 against a very tough Kansas City Chiefs team. So had some thought I'd share them with you before the game started. But first, I wanted to give my thoughts on a breaking news or rumor about the 49ers possibly being interested in Christian McCaffrey. So we all know the 49ers basically put the Carolina Panthers in the coffin and led them to some wholesale changes. They fired their head coach. They fired their defensive coordinator. Now it looks like it's going to be a fire sale, and the Panthers are going to, basically start from scratch, right? And hopefully get one of these top quarterbacks in this year's draft and do the process all over again. So what does that mean for the 49ers? And should they actually get a guy like Christian McCaffrey? And my answer is maybe. And what I mean by maybe is I like the idea of going after talent at running back, a guy like Christian McCaffrey, and I'll tell you why. But first, want to give shout out to Alan. What's up, So Real? How's it going? It's going fantastic, my guy. Beautiful Sunday. Excited about 49er football, and there's some great games all throughout the NFL today. So I'm going to be a couch potato, my man, and that is a good day in my eyes. So going back to Christian McCaffrey, the thing about Christian McCaffrey is he is expensive, right? He's making top money for a running back, and obviously you understand why with the type of production that he's capable of, not only running the ball, but also catching the ball out of the backfield. And if he is perfect for what the 49ers would look for as far as where they're moving with their running game right now, he would be excellent in this zone blocking scheme, zone running scheme that Kyle Shanahan likes running. But the problem is the 49ers don't necessarily have the financial backing to maybe invest this much into somebody who you aren't guaranteed is going to be there for you week in and week out. And that, I think, is the biggest drawback for me. I'm actually not worried about the draft assets. I'm not worried about even the financials as far as the money itself. I am worried about wrapping your money into a player that you isn't going to be consistently there week in and week out. So that would be why I maybe wouldn't go after Christian McCaffrey. However, the fact that the 49ers are tied to Christian McCaffrey, for me, is a really, really good sign. Because to me, it now makes helps you understand what the thought process is of Kyle Shanahan and um, John Lynch. And maybe they are realizing that, hey, we can't keep, maybe sustaining this position with guys in the fifth, sixth, seventh, and undrafted rounds. And what I mean by that, obviously the 49ers have had a lot of success with those guys. Guys like Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. right now, Elijah Mitchell, all of these guys were either undrafted or drafted very, very low. But what's the issue with all of them? Injuries. And the way that Kyle Shanahan is starting to use his primary back is he's not spreading the ball around like he maybe did earlier when he was a 49er coach. He is pretty much using bell cows now, which usually guys that are later rounds drafted or, are undrafted aren't used to that kind of workload, even in college. So to put them in the NFL where the defenders are bigger, stronger, faster, and hit harder, the reality is those are going to lead to a lot bigger injuries. So what I mean by it's good to see that the 49ers might start actually looking at the running back position as needing somebody with high-end talent. Maybe that means that they'll start utilizing their first or second round for a running back. Now, for me, that is a little bit scary because I do think that whoever drafts or isolates running backs in the top 3 rounds for the 49ers is not very good at it, i.e., what they've done in the 3rd round, their last 3 running backs, and how those guys aren't on the team anymore, or aren't, haven't necessarily broken out and shown what they're capable of quite yet. For me, it is a good sign that they're maybe looking into the future and seeing that we need to put more talent at that running back position because it's so important to the team as far as this offense. So will it be Christian McCaffrey? Probably not, just because I don't know if the 49ers will give up the assets and want to be on the hook for that contract, because I believe he is still under contract for another 3 years, or at least 2 years. But it is nice to see that the 49ers are looking to upgrade their roster because, they should. This team is very, very good, especially on the defensive end. Whatever you could do to make this offense better, I'm all for. Keeping to the running backs, let's talk about, because there is a game that's going to be going on in the next 30 minutes or 45 minutes or so, and that is the 49ers versus the Atlanta Falcons. And one thing about the Atlanta Falcons is they are very, very much so a team that isn't very good at stopping the run. Right now, they're averaging about 4.5 yards per carry, or giving up 4.5 yards per carry. Just last week against the Carolina Panthers, Jeff Wilson Jr. was averaging over 7 yards per carry. So what does this mean for the 49ers offense is this could be another game where the 49ers offense looks extremely good. And what I mean by that is if the running game is dominant, it makes the rest of the offense look dominant as well, including our man, Jimmy G. So I expect Jeff Wilson Jr. to have a big game this week. I expect even Tevin Coleman, not the R&B singer, the actual running back for the 49ers, Tevin Coleman, to turn back the clock again and have back-to-back very productive games for the 49ers. And this is going to be good because the running game obviously opens up other aspects of the offense, makes it easier for a guy like Jimmy D to play off of play action, which is where he excels the most. And it's going to give more passing lanes for Jimmy G and make hopefully easier catches for guys like Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, and maybe even a George Kittle sighting in the offense this week. But I do expect a very, very big game out of the running backs, and that's going to be extremely exciting to see because we know that this offense is inconsistent, but when they do play well, this team is extremely dominant. And especially this week, I think it's going to be more important for the offense to carry more of the load because of some of the injuries that the defense is going to have to absorb. And, namely, obviously, Emmanuel Mosley's out for the season, unfortunately, with the knee injury. Jimmy Ward is not coming back this game with the hand injury, and 75% of the starters along the defensive line are out for this game. Right? We just saw Kinlaw is back on IR, so he's gonna miss the next 4 games at least. Armstead is out for this game, and breaking news also, Nick Bosa is out for this game. So they are resting Armstead and Bosa, who I think if this was Kansas City instead of Atlanta, would probably be in there playing. But give them a rest. Let the depth of the defensive line hold this one down, because this is a game where they should be still able to make it hard for Atlanta, even without all of the stars that I just mentioned being out. So, but with that being said, the offense does need to do a little bit more to make it easier for this defense to win this game, right? So, Jeff Wilson Jr., if he's in your fantasy team, make sure you're starting him. I believe that even Tevin Coleman is going to have a solid game this week as well. And that's going to help make the offense look good and, hopefully lead this team to a victory. Raphael 5629ers, what's up, Sunil and everyone? He says like and subscribe, and if Raphael tells you to do it, you should do it. So we talked about some positives. There is one thing that I think that the 49ers really need to look out for, and this is the one Achilles heel and the thing that could make this game close or even be a game where the 49ers could possibly lose. And what I mean by that is, look, there's been 3 games this year this would be the 3rd game this year that the 49ers, there was no thought that they would be able to lose the game. And that is Chicago, Seattle, and now Atlanta. In those last 2 games, they were 1-1. So these games that the 49ers should dominate don't always mean that the 49ers will dominate, right? And so what would be the reason that the 49ers do not dominate this game? And it is that the Falcons have some of the makeup of teams that give the 49ers trouble. And what I mean by that is they do have a mobile quarterback, right? So Marcus Mariota obviously isn't necessarily anybody that people think is, a Pro Bowl type quarterback or somebody that you should be extremely afraid of. However, he is mobile and he can run. And that is something that the 49ers have struggled before. Obviously, we lost to Chicago in the beginning of this season, and the defense had pretty much had the Chicago offense dead to right. But Justin Fields' ability to break containment, give them some more time, led to some big plays that ended up being the reason why the 49ers lost, along with all the penalties on the defense. But that is something to be aware of, especially because this defensive line is going to be a bunch of backups, right? And one of the things that the 49ers strength with the defensive line is that depth. Not necessarily just because they can withstand injuries, but they're always able to keep fresh players there on the defensive line. But now that 75% of the starters are out, guys that would be usually there to come in to give rest to the starters and be able to just play, a few downs per series to keep it fresh and keep the pressure on the opposing offenses. Now they're going to have to play more snaps and play throughout the game. So that can lead to their effectiveness being less effective because they are going to be tired, right? And so that's the big thing that the 49ers need to be aware of is in the 3rd quarter, in the 4th quarter, where maybe the defensive linemen that aren't used to playing as many snaps are now, huffing and puffing, and a guy like Mariota can, break containment and make a play. Because even though this offense isn't necessarily great, I mean, they're ranked near the bottom as far as, offenses in the league. They are or actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're ranked at middle of the pack right now. As far as offenses go, they are an offense that has some weapons, right? Pitts, the tight end, should be available for this game. They obviously have their own Drake as a wide receiver that it has shown some promise this season, early in the season. So there are some weapons on this team for Mariota to throw to. So the 49ers definitely need to make sure that they are disciplined in their assignments, especially along the defensive line. I think that the linebackers, Dre Greenlaw and Warner, need to make sure that they are very good at their gap assignments and making sure that they're aware of where that quarterback is. And this could be a big game for Ebicom, right? Ebicom is the only starter that is going to be playing in this game. He also was brought in, a couple years ago for the 49ers from the Rams for this reason, to be able to be that speed to help keep quarterbacks in the pocket and make sure that they could solve that whole issue that they have with mobile quarterbacks. And, our own Drake, this could be a big game for him because he has the speed on the edge to help keep containment on a quarterback like Mariota as well. So if the 49ers are going to fumble this win, I do believe that is going to be the reason why. I think that Raphael makes a good point as well. Niners should limit the penalties and not let the Falcons keep drives alive. That's absolutely, a very important thing that the 49ers need to be focused on as well, is not hurting themselves, right? So let the Falcons earn whatever they get on offense. Don't give it to them. And, one of the ways that they could give it to them is definitely through penalties. So making sure that they're being disciplined, making sure that they're not, holding the ball or holding, defend or off the wide receivers and things like that, because whomever is going to play alongside Mooney Ward is going to be somebody that's not used to starting, right? Whether they move Womack out there, or is it going to be Ambry Thomas, or are they going to move Lenore out there? Yet to be determined. I don't know if Verrett is ready to play. If Verrett's there, that would be obviously the best case scenario. But if it's not Verrett, if it's Womack or Lenore, just make sure that they're playing discipline and making sure that they're not putting themselves in situations where they have to commit penalties, because that obviously can help the Falcons gain some momentum. And we don't want them to have any confidence, especially for an offense that is middle of the pack and not necessarily, known to blow teams out. So that's basically the show. I know it's kind of quick. I just wanted to get some thoughts in before the game starts here in a little over 30 minutes. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. It is a great football Sunday. A lot of games that are going to be extremely exciting to watch. Obviously, the one we are most focused on is the 49ers versus the Falcons. I do think that the 49ers have enough to make this a very comfortable victory. However, they do need to execute. Unfortunately, these games aren't won on paper. These games are won on the field, and we're hoping for a very comfortable victory from the 49ers. And once again, really, really want to make sure that this team comes out of it without any other injuries. So guys, like I always say, stay safe, stay hydrated, and we will talk again very, very soon. Enjoy the game. Go Niners.